Waterloo Pier now, and the next stop will be Tower Pier, and then the last stop will be Greenwich. Now, as we leave the piers, ladies and gentlemen, we're just required to give you a brief safety announcement. The safety announcements, they're not done to alarm anyone, they really comply with the rules and regulations on the River Thames. Now, the vessel, this is called the Millennium Time, and it's fitted with the most modern and up-to-date life-saving apparatus. On board the boat, we have automatic launch life rafts, float-free life rafts, individual life jackets to support tucks and quiet passengers. Now, the life jackets, they're situated all around the vessel. They're clearly marked and indicated by the Green International life jackets. In the very unlikely event of any emergency, please remain calm, remain seated, and follow any instruction given to you by your fully trained. Is everybody still happy? Good stuff. If you're not happy and you're worried, there is a fully licensed bar in the last unit. You're on holiday, it's 5 o'clock something, and the sun's out. Might be a little bit too early, not for some point. Ladies and gents, on the way down to the Tower of London, you pass many attractions. Their company, they provide the boats with a pack. Use your Wi-Fi and you download it out. You can listen to a commentary through the boat. That's just what they used to provide the boats with a audio guide. You might have heard this on the buses going around London. They tell you about an attraction half a mile down the road past it. Now, an old tradition on these boats, what we like to do with crew is provide you all with a guide. But we must point out we're not tour guides, we are your crew. But it's an old tradition, and it's a choice really, your choice. Would anyone like to sit and listen to the company's audio commentary? Would anyone like a live commentary going down to the town? A few. I know we might have people from all around different parts of the world. English might not be your first language. I shall try to speak slowly, a bit clearer, and hopefully most people will take something home with them today. The commentary is only given in my version of the London English. Okay? Everyone okay with that? Yes. We'll start the tour off ahead of the boat. To your right, ahead of the boat, the Palace of Westminster. Now, this is a palace. It's owned by the Crown. We refer to this building as the Houses of Parliament, the seat to our British government. The two main towers on the Parliament building, in the distance fly the Union flag, the Victoria Tower. The smaller tower with the clock face. Most people will recognise this and call it Big Ben. That tower with the clock, the Elizabeth Tower. It was once known as the St Stephen's Clock and Tower, renamed in 2012 to the Elizabeth Tower for our late Queen's Diamond Jubilee. Big Ben, ladies and gentlemen, the nickname of the 13.5-ton bell which is held inside the tower, and it's the bell that will chime the hour and the hour alone. Named after Sir Benjamin Hall, and he was the Commissioner of Work inside the tower. We turn the boat around, a lovely old building to the shorefront. This is the County Hall for London. This used to be the offices for the GLC, the Greater London Council. Near the Westminster chime, Big Ben strike the hour at 11 o'clock. So that's the chime before any strike of Big Ben. Quarter past, half past, the Big Ben chime. Now you're going to hear Big Ben chime. That's the bell. The offices for the GLC to your right, the Greater London Council. They used to look after the 32 boroughs surrounding Greater London, the housing, schooling, refuse collection, expanded by an Act of Parliament back in the late 1980s. This is now where you will find Streets Adventure, a Namco arcade, Sea Life, the London Aquarium, and also London Duck, all inside that one building to your right. It stands next to the London Eye, the Ferry room. This is 450 feet tall. There are 32 capsules on the London Eye, honest. Not a random number. They represent the 32 boroughs of Greater London. When you are 450 feet right on the very top, on a clear day, you should see all 32 boroughs. and that's why they named it the London Eye. Built on pontoons and barges here on the Thames, raised in the year 2000, it's only supposed to have been here for 3 years. So successful, 20 years later, still operating. This is London's most visited tourist attraction. Behind the trees to your left, the Gothic Whitehall called Mansions, the former home of the National Liberal Club, the wartime head office of Sir Winston Churchill during the Second World War. This is now past the 5-star Royal Four-Star Hotel. The first bridge, ladies and gents, the Charing Cross Railway. Either side are the Jubilee Walkways. An old tradition. If there's anyone walking across these bridges, give these people away. If we get a way back, we'll get 5 years of good luck. There's not many people up there today. Be quiet in London today. And if they don't wave back, if they wave back, they come in front. If they don't wave back, that just means they're from London. There's another footbridge on the other side. Keep smiling, keep waving. There we go. And we're going to wave back on this one. That's 5 years of back. Never play. The building to the right, completely soundproof, the Royal Festival Hall. This was built for the Festival of Great Britain in 1951, a post-war morale boosting festival. Many famous artists performed inside there: Frank Sinatra, Pavarotti, Tina Turner, to name a few. Completely soundproof, and it stands next to one of London's busiest railways. The oldest thing well past our journey lies off to your left. On the embankment wall, that stone Egyptian column is Cleopatra's Needle. That is said to be over 3,500 years old. Given to this country by a thankful Egyptian government for Nelson's victory over Napoleon at the Battle of the River Thames. I say given very loosely. A lot of people tell me we actually stole that needle, and I say to them, I don't think we have stolen it, we must have found it. But it's there on the embankment wall. A twin lies off in Central Park in Newton. A lovely hotel to your left behind the trees, the building with the green tile roof, the riverside entrance into the famous Savoy Hotel on the Strand. And that's a 5-star hotel to your left-hand side. The bridge, ladies and gents, the Waterloo Road Bridge. This bridge we call the Ladies' Bridge. The reason behind that is over 85% of the labour force on the reconstruction of this bridge were in fact female. Rebuilt during the Second World War when there was a shortage of male labour, built by the Land Army, the Ladies of London. To your right-hand side, the building with the concrete flash, with the flashed and illuminated signboard, that's our National Theatre to your right. The building, unfortunately, does get voted by London's leading architects to be one of the ugliest buildings on the banks of the River Thames. Val Sanger, never judge a book by its cover. 3 superb theatres, auditoriums to excite the wonder. The largest of the 3 is the only one. To our left-hand side, the black and white vessel, not the Golden Sunrise, the one just behind it, the St Catherine. That boat used to be the former royal barge on the River Thames. Any time that royal family had any business to do on the river, they actually used the old St Catherine engine on it. No longer a royal barge, our new royal barge is called the Gloriana. It's a hand-painted gold and red boat. So when King Charles and William have any business to do on the river today, they go aboard the Gloriana. If Harry ever comes over, they put him on the old St Catherine. To our left-hand side, the white vessel, the yellow funnel, Wellington, we call the sloop for the New Zealand Navy. On the embankment wall, behind the Wellington, the stone archway. Now this is Temple Arch or Temple Gate, and that's a boundary between 2 cities. We are now leaving the city of Westminster. We have now entered the city of London. The City of London, 1 square mile. Originally named Londinium when the Romans first landed, it starts at Temple Arch, it finishes at the Tower Bridge, one of the richest and one of the smallest capital cities in the world. To your right hand side, the red brick building, the landmark, the small tower of the roof. In the windows, look carefully, it spells out the word Oxo, O-X-O. The Oxo Tower, owned by the Vestry family. Now they invented the famous Oxo gravy bacon. A stock cube. You add boiling water to make the gravy sauce. Produced in Stamford years ago. Now this is luxury riverside apartments. On the roof of those apartments, on either side of the tower, as a Harvey Nichols restaurant. A very expensive, but a very nice restaurant overlooking the River Thames. It's voted within the top 10 restaurants here in London. Sea Container's house next to it. This was going to be a hotel years ago. The company financing the project became bankrupt. Seacon, a very large shipping agent, they bought the building, converted it into their main London head office. It is now an office and hotel complex once again. These bridges, ladies and gents, the Blackfriars group of bridges. Look at pavement level on the road bridge, church-style monuments. These were placed in at the expressways of Queen Victoria to commemorate the old Blackfriars Monastery, which once stood to our left. The monastery was knocked down years ago to make way for the bridges. But the monks in the monastery used to wear black hats, hence the name of Blackfriars. The old Alexander Railway Bridge, the very first railway bridge, was ran across the River Thames. They removed the top, became too unsafe for the train travel. Designed by Mr. Barkley and Locale, used to take large steam trains from London to Chatham and on to go to the south coast. We'll not remove those columns for fear of disturbing the support of the other two bridges. We come through the railway bridge to your left-hand side, dominated the London skyline. See there the golden cross and the great dome of St. Paul's. St. Paul's Cathedral, 365 feet tall. It's got the second largest unsupported cathedral dome in Europe, the largest as on St. Peter's in the Vatican City. The architecture of Christopher Wren is buried inside the crypt, along with the Archduke, Wellington and Naval Operation. It took him 35 years to construct and completed in 1710. The bridge, ladies and gentlemen, the Millennium Footbridge. This is better known to Londoners as the Wobbly Bridge. The reason being on its opening day, as people walked across this bridge which swayed violently from side to side. People were holding onto the handrails, falling on the floor, fearing they'd fall into the River Thames. They closed it 2 hours after its grand opening. They asked the architect, Lord Norman Foster, on national telly what the problem was with his bridge. And I quote, he said, "There's nothing wrong with my bridge, it's just the way London is done." Apparently we've got a different kind of bolt. I just placed one. To your right hand side, a white timber frame building with a thatched roof to your right. And that's an exact replica of William Shakespeare's Globe Playhouse Theatre. The Globe Theatre, the brainchild of a gentleman called Sam Wanamaker, an American film producer and director. Sadly, he passed away before the building was ever completed. It took him over 20 years to get permission for that building to stand. This is the only one in London that's been made out of those traditional materials of wood and thatch since the Great Fire of 1660. And where it stands here, ladies and gentlemen, to your right hand side, this is Southwark. During the Elizabethan era, this area was known as the Stews of London. This was London's entertainment, led by history, fairgrounds, golf fights, legal schools, and then again it's a real refuse for situation. And here to your right, one of those old beds is still here today. It's called the Anchor. And that public house dates back to 1650. It's over 400 years old. Many famous Englishmen over the years have drank inside. Dr. Johnson, Samuel Pepys, a diamond, Sir Christopher Wren, William Shakespeare, and myself. I go inside that pub every night, ladies and gents, and I go in there to do research. And I research these commentaries that I've been involved with. It takes me hours and hours. It's all for the commentary and local content. I enjoy the live guide so far. Sometimes that captain short tells me I'm doing too much research. So I forget the next day what research. It's not very important. Keep the kids your left, an old pirate ship. Sir Francis Drake ship, the Golden Lights. Unfortunately not never stays kind to us. To your right hand side you will find the Borough Market. The Borough Market here in London, a traditional market, food, flowers, drinks from all around the world. It lies just behind Southwark Cathedral to your right hand side, and that's a lovely place to go and visit, the Borough Market. And Southwark Cathedral been a place of worship on that site since the 14th century, and baptised in that cathedral a young boy, the son of a local butcher, his name John Harvard, later emigrated to America, one of the co-founders of the Harvard University. And this bridge, ladies and gents, not much to look at, more about the history engraved into the stone, London Bridge. This London Bridge opened in 1973. It replaced the old London Bridge, which was taken down stone by stone, brick by brick, taken across to America, where it was then rebuilt. Does anybody know where? Arizona, exactly that. Lake Havasu in Arizona. That's where the old London Bridge stands today, sold to the McCulloch Corporation. The tallest building in London is there to your right hand side, and this is the Shard, or the Shard of Glass. It stands over 1,018 feet. Inside the Shard, offices, apartments, casino, the 5-star Shangri-La Hotel, on the 72nd floor, a public viewing gallery. It's called The View, designed by Renzo Piano, and it will cost you around £40 to go to the top of the Shard, taking a view over London. Look to your left, ladies and gentlemen, you see the office building, on the curved roof there, you can see people standing on a public viewing gallery. This is number 20, Fenchurch Street, home to the Sky Garden. 2 restaurants, a bar, an indoor Sky Garden, a public viewing area, completely free of charge. The view in the Shard sells itself. A free option goes to the Sky Garden London. Behind the trees to your left, the building with the 6 black chimneys. This is Waterguard House. The offices and headquarters to His Majesty's Customs and Excise. If anybody comes into the country and bought too many cigarettes or alcohol, confiscated, taken to the basement of that building, where we are told it is all incinerated, burned, destroyed. We are told. I have worked on this river now 36 years. I've never seen a puff of smoke on those chimneys. Christmas parties, I hear, are amazing. London's very own warship lies here to your right, the C-35 HMS Belfast. And she was the largest and fastest light cruiser built for our Royal Navy. Her main arms, there are 12 6-inch guns. There are 6 at the front, 6 at the back. And those guns capable of firing a 100-weight shell, 14 landmines. Last fired during the Korean conflict. She was the flagship for the D-Day landings, built in the famous Harland and Wolff shipyard in Northern Ireland, Belfast, and that's the same shipyard where the ill-fated Titanic was built. And the Belfast is now permanently moored here on an anchor chain. She's an extension to an Imperial War Museum, and during the summer months she also doubles up as a cruise ship terminal. They put big fenders alongside the Belfast. Smaller cruise ships, they come up through the gateway to London, the bridge ahead of us, the famous towerbridge, and they moor alongside the Belfast. And we're going to turn the boat nice and slowly, ladies and gents. So on your right hand side, a lovely opportunity to take some nice pictures of the gateway. Now they call this the gateway to London, the famous Tower Bridge. And this bridge is unique. It's one of a kind. Can't suspension. The mastheads, the centre parts, the lower 2 spans, they separate, they open like a drawbridge, known as the 90 seconds, to allow larger ships free passage into this part of the river, the upper fall of London. The bridge itself was designed by a gentleman called Sir John Ferry, and it was opened in 1894. It's not as old as it appears. Purely and simply designed in this way to blend in with its famous neighbour of the day, which is the Tower of London. And the Tower of London, well, that's ahead of us. But the bridge, there to your right, designed just purely and simply to blend in with the famous Tower of London. The oldest part of the Tower of London, the castle in the centre, the 4 raised towers. This is called during the reign of William the Conqueror back in 1078. The surrounding buildings, these were added to by various kings and queens reigning monarchs. The Tower of London itself has been many persons a royal tomb, a fortress, a royal mint, and menagerie is most famously known as a place of the most Catholic secrets. Look on the river wall, the bricked up archway, the right above it entry to the Traitors' Gate. And that's where traitors, now guilty of treason at the Palace of Westminster, where we started our journey, they'd have been rowed downriver, rowed up through that archway to Tower Hill, and that's where they would have awaited their execution. And that consisted of the old axe and chopping block, on with your head. If you was famous, your head would have been displayed on a spike at the foot of Old London Bridge, placed there to deter any would-be traitors. Over 900 years of English and French history lies inside those walls, and most of it is very gruesome. And there you go, ladies and gents, Tower Pier ahead of us. Now, a little bit of safety, a little bit of journey information. We'll go with safety first, and once you've taken your photographs, I'll just ask you now, just find a seat, just remain seated until we're safely alongside the pier. Sometimes the boats, they take a slight bump. I wouldn't want anyone falling over. Journey information, ladies and gentlemen. When we leave Tower Pier, we go through Tower Bridge and then we go to Greenwich. It takes this boat 30 minutes to get to Greenwich. We're alongside Greenwich for 30 minutes, another 30 minutes back here to Tower Pier. That's 1.5 hours on this boat, a return trip to Tower Pier. If you haven't got that time, just change boats here. Have a wander around, take in any of the boats. There's one of our sister boats just left. Boats are returning every 40 minutes throughout the day. Okay, your last boat leaving Tower Pier this evening is around about 7:30. So you've got quite a bit of time. Stay on board this boat for Greenwich, change, or if you want to go and have a walk around, and if you want to get a later boat back. But this boat will go to Greenwich. If you're undecided, there are no big bus tours at Greenwich. Big buses, you must leave us here, connect with your big bus on the main road in front of the Tower of London. So if you want to go to Greenwich, stay on board this boat. If you want any other attraction, the big buses, the two buses, or the Tower of London, you must change boats. And if you're leaving us, ladies and gents, just take this opportunity to look around, make sure you have all your personal belongings. Please don't spoil your day by leaving any personal belongings on board the boat. And lastly, ladies and gentlemen, it's just a little bit of information about the guide commentary. As I said at the beginning of the commentary, we are not tour guides on board these boats, we are the crew. And it is us, the crews, we put the commentaries together in the hope of making your journey a little bit more interesting, hopefully, and a little bit more enjoyable, rather than you sitting there taking a complete mystery tour. Now, we've never been trained for this. This is an old tradition. This is how it used to be done years ago. And with this being an old tradition, we still have a very old tradition on board these Thames boats. And that is, if you've understood, and if you've enjoyed the commentary, and if you would like to show any appreciation for my effort as your guide, you can do so when you leave the boat. I'll be standing at the exit gate, and alongside the gate we leave our silver champagne ice bucket. And this little bucket, ladies and gents, is the captain's tip bucket. Feel free to place whatever you like into our tip bucket. It is your kind generosity that keeps the cruise doing these live commentaries. And if there's anyone wondering what happens to the contents, the tips, the money that we receive from the bucket, well, they do not go to waste. They do go back to that all-important research. The research myself and Sean will be doing out when we carry out, when we finish work tonight. Love to go home to our wives and our children. We must do the important research for these commentaries. All jokes aside, ladies and gents, thank you very much for your kind attention. I hope you've enjoyed your trip down here to the Tower of London. My name is Lee, your captain today is Sean. This is Tower Pier, and you're on the Millennium Tour. Take care, folks, all the best. Safe on the boat. Thank you. maritime train bus, and the ticket for the buses, the sightseeing tour buses, and you need one. So the next one is one of the free. The only people who like them to free. So I just if you'd like to spend any time here, we're to bridge later, but how I feel very much safe journey, just let the
Yeah, it says Greenwich, yeah. I always get people complaining when we get, oh, why aren't we at the London Eye?
Yeah, welcome. Welcome to new passengers that have just joined us. We have a few new passengers, so just a brief safety. There's not many people. The boat that we're travelling on, this is the Millennium Time. So this is the most modern, up-to-date lifesaving apparatus. We have life jackets, life rafts, and life rings. All around the boat, clearly marked in the green and green international shore. Now we go through Towerbridge, ladies and gents, and we're going to take you to Greenwich. If you was on the boat earlier, I was talking about a live commentary as you went through the central London. I pointed out the central line is the start of the city. So Tower Bridge, the end of the 1 square mile city. So we've just travelled through the 1 square mile city of London. We enter London suburbs now. To your left, the borough of Hornblower. This is East London to your left hand side. And there's a lovely old dock, St Catherine's Dock, which is on there. This used to be a secure dock years ago. We was told that 30% of cargo was being stolen on a daily basis by pirates. So at St Catherine's Dock, they were secured ivory, silk, gold, stored in St Catherine's. Now a very nice yacht, bars and restaurants, very nice boat. And into our right hand side, London's water, we're going to see old water warehouses converted to luxury side of London. London, where lines, tea warehouses, tea, Cutty Sark, underneath the construction side of London is a very nice fine line restaurant. After murdering Nancy in London Bridge, and George dropped into the steamer right at the very end of the movie. All set down, St Catherine's Dock to your right, and Bermondsey to our right hand side. Parts of this area has not changed since the mid-80s. Charles Dickens, who wrote the novel Oliver, he used to walk through Bermondsey up to London Bridge. He used to visit his father, who was a prisoner at London Bridge, at Greenwich. A better prison years ago. An old saying years ago that you never be a citizen going to live. And that's an old better prison up the front. And Charles Dickens based the novel on many of the unsighted characters as he walked through Bermondsey to our point. Chambers walk to your right hand side, still part of this end, trying to wait to what they are doing, they have done, built a tunnel 48 metres deep. Martin behind the bushes there to your left. They go in with the disused wooden jetty to your left hand side. Now this disused wooden jetty is called the Free Trade Port. Now when the Great Plague of London hit in 1665, no country could trade with us for fear of catching the plague of Black Death. The only country that would trade were the Dutch. And the Dutch, they were granted free trade, and they used to bring their fresh produce of oranges and lemons here to Free Trade Port. When the ships used to arrive, the bells from the church would ring out. People in the surrounding area would come down to the riverside to pick up the oranges and lemons, which they thought the citrus would cure the plague years ago. But really, history tells us it was the Great Fire in London when that hit in 1666. That's what killed all the rats that were carrying the disease in London years ago, when the Great Fire. And to avoid global, this used to be a rat infested rice mill when it has. Now we're up to the other side of Martin. A river facing apartment global 1 million pounds. An apartment overlooking the road is the other side, 650 to 700 pounds. A river facing view maximises the capacity of selling your apartment. And there's a house here to your left hand side. See the trees in the garden to the left hand side of the trees. The yellow brick building, the brown conservatory, new summit, a 9-bedroom house, a 60-seater cinema and indoors. With one owned by Canary and famous film producer and directed Bridge over the River Wye passenger. Lighthouse Marina to your left. To the left hand side of the marina, the red brick building Dutch, they were employed by the company Japan to the master to start building the docks. What the Dutch done, they built all the way around the left-hand side, and they placed three very large trucks. Their first stop, their Europe, and they got red ball rises to the top of that mast, and then at exactly 1 o'clock the ball drops. And this is where we get 1300, 1 o'clock Greenwich Mean Time. This is where time is set. This is where east it meets west, 0 degrees of longitude, the meridian line. That's at Flamstead House, and that's around about a 35-minute walk. If you don't want to go up there, the best place to see the ball rise if you're waiting here is walk along the River Wharf. In between the 2 naval colleges, you can look right at the top of Greenwich Park, and you'll see that ball on top of the mast. And then exactly 5 to 1, the ball will rise, and then 1 o'clock the ball drops. And this is where young boys on the ships, as I said, the Navy ships would have lined here at on the River Thames. The boys would have gone up into the crow's nest to watch the ball drop down. And this is where the ships used to set their instruments to sail off around the world. And if you're a good timekeeper, you're on the ball. And that's where it all stems from, up here in Greenwich Park. And that's a lovely little place to come. There's a foot tunnel underneath the River Thames. A foot tunnel just in front of us. Bars and restaurants here. This is a lovely area in Greenwich, a royal borough, a well-kept borough. Lots of bars and restaurants. There's over 50 public houses, pubs here. Myself and Sean, we only managed to visit 22 of them to do the research. So see if you can visit all of them. A lovely place to go and visit. Ladies and gents, you see we turn the boat around. We're going alongside Greenwich Pier very shortly. Just remain seated until we're safely alongside. Sometimes the boats they might take us like that. As I said, returning boats every 40 minutes. We leave at 2:30. You are more than welcome to sit on board us and return if you want to. But it's a long way to come. Stretch your legs. Every 40 minutes the boats leave here. We leave at 12:30. The last boat at 2:30. Ladies and gents, I do hope you've enjoyed your trip down here to Greenwich. As I said at the beginning, we're not tour guides on all the boats. We are the crew. And it's us, the cruise. We put the commentaries together in the hope of making your journey a little bit more interesting and enjoyable. Now, we've never been trained for this, as I said before. This is an old tradition. And with that, we've still got an old tradition, and that is, if you've understood, and if you've enjoyed my commentary, and if you would like to show any voluntary appreciation for my official guide, you can do so when you leave the boat. I'll be standing at the exit gate, and we leave our silver champagne ice bucket, and that's the boat's little tip bucket. Feel free to place whatever you like into that tip bucket, because it is your kind generosity that keeps the cruise doing these live commentaries. Whatever the outcome, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much. I do hope you've enjoyed your trip down here to Greenwich. Have a lovely remainder of the day here, but most of all, have a very safe homeward bound journey. Take care, folks. All the best. Thanks for listening. Thank you.